We are going to try this again. Hello everyone, I'm Marissa Miller and I'm an indie author. I have currently published 3 out of 4 books in a young adult mashup retelling series called the When Wicked series. And those 3 books include When Wicked Runs West, When Wicked Runs East, and When Wicked Runs South. My current work in progress is a new adult dark fantasy series called the Fallen Rain series, and I'm currently working on drafting book 1 for that. Since it doesn't have an official name yet, I've just been referring to it as book 1. Okay, so it is about halfway through January, and I started off having every intent in the world to really hit the ground running with one of my New Year's resolutions, which was to expand my social media presence from just being on Instagram as my primary focus to include both Instagram and authortube. I have dabbled in authortube videos before, but I've never really stuck with it, so it was one of my big goals this year to follow through and do more of that. So my bright idea was that I was going to do a New Year's resolutions video and show how I was going to implement these New Year's goals and resolutions, which primarily focused around adding more structure and a regiment to my authoring process. For Fallen Rain, I am working with a developmental editor. I do have deadlines now for chapters every week, and I am working in a more structured process overall for writing, and I wanted to have a schedule and a routine that kind of reflected that more serious approach to authoring in general. So I filmed footage and I did an intro conveying all of this, but ultimately I ended up feeling like when I got to the end of it and I cut it all together that I didn't really like my intro. I felt it was too long and I was talking too much. And then I realized that most of my footage for my vlog content, because that was my great idea, was that I don't know how to do vlogs. I've never been comfortable doing vlogs because I don't know what I'm supposed to say, what I'm supposed to film, what the ratio is for talking to doing things on camera, and I don't have one of those fancy little tripods that you put on your desk and it holds the camera like this so you can see what you're doing. So I decided I was going to rip off the band-aid and start off with a vlog. And I took footage throughout the week, my week of implementation, which was supposed to be the vlog footage, and it mostly ended up being talking updates, and I realized I wasn't doing a whole lot in it, but I still think that this was a week of implementation for me, and I didn't want to just let that all go to waste. And ultimately, being on YouTube and trying to do more authortube content is a learning process for me, so I figured it worth sharing. So I'm refilming this intro, and basically this is now just, instead of a New Year's resolutions video, it is I'm trying to figure out how the heck to do vlogs and a week in the life of an indie author video. So with that little honesty session over, I will go ahead and segue into a week of my life, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so I went ahead and sat down. I printed out a weekly planner as well as kind of my own makeshift calendar printable that I plan to beautify with my lovely pastel highlighters, pretty starry pens, and my plethora of gel pens. So this is going to get beautified. I went ahead and filled out my weekly checklist first of things that I need to do this week, and then I took elements from the checklist and put them on my priorities. So those are the things that I absolutely need to do this week for implementation. On my checklist, I have film vlog content, which I'm currently doing. Apply developmental editor edits 1 through 6 for chapters 1 through 6. I need to write chapters 7 through 10 and send them off. By Thursday, I need to do some writing sprints in order to accomplish that. I have a weekly video call on Wednesday with a women's writing group. Then I need to outline more of my book. I have kind of a weird outlining process that I'll probably save for like a different video, but basically I have a like rough outline for the whole book, and then I'm like have kind of replotted off and on, and so I'm at the point now where I'm writing and then I plot out like the next 5 chapters. I want to do a video on the writing process this week, so my goal is to film that because I have kind of a new approach that I'm taking on this year. I think it falls in line with the whole approaching things with more structure. That's the word I'm looking for. All right, and then I want to make 2 reels this week, and I want to do at least 1 post for Instagram, and then I need to allow myself time to edit videos and make the additional video content like a thumbnail and a post to go on Instagram for it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and review the comments left on my chapters that I submitted to my developmental editor and read through those. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Sometimes I understand the comments, but I also am like, but wait, it's on the next page, the answer to your questions. Which can be kind of a struggle when you're like trying to write things. It's like having that balance of explaining things effectively, but also letting things play out naturally. Like when it comes out as like dialogue, so like you're letting information come out naturally through the characters talking about it. But in doing that, you also have to leave some things a bit unexplained until you have a natural place to like maybe elaborate on it. And so it's like finding that balance, I guess. And I think sometimes, especially in a fantasy novel, it requires a bit more patience on the reader's part to like allow room for that, so that way you don't get a bunch of info dumping, but also finding a way to like walk that line between leaving too much time and not explaining enough and doing it, you know, the way that I am intending to. Feel like this comment here is something, so like they're asking for a bit more like background and context for a character that is supposed to be a bit more mysterious. You aren't necessarily supposed to know where they stand on the issue. They're kind of intentionally vague. But the comments did give me things that I can note that I want to write down as answers to kind of naturally elaborate on as I'm writing. So I think that's good. I love reading comments. It's so fun. Okay, asking more questions about contextual things. So here's the thing. It's interesting to me because these types of questions are good, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's something to think about and stuff. But then I come up with this wall of like, I don't know how to incorporate that. Like, what's a good way to incorporate that, you know? I think it's like, so it's like, how is this character viewed by others because of his position requiring such knowledge, and even at times defending, blah, blah, blah. So, like, that's a great question. I want to answer it, but I don't know how. So that's something to think about. Like how to answer it on the page. Because I have so much of like with this book, knowing what's going on. I know the answers to these questions, like overall in a broad sense. Because I know the world and I know the character, and like if I just sat down and talked with someone about it, I could answer and be like, oh, well, this, and this. But to put it actually in the context of the text, sometimes I can be a little bit like, how do I do that? Yeah. That's funny. Okay. So here's a tricky thing. So, something that I was trying to correct going into this chapter that was commented on in chapter like chapters 1 through 4 was that I was doing a lot of telling and not showing. Now, I am of the mind, first of all, that is a good rule of thumb in general, but there are times to tell and not show, because it can become awkward and contrived if you're trying too hard to show things, and there's a time and a place to just be like, nope, this is what happened, this is what they did directly. No embellishments, I guess. that being said, I needed to like express more mannerisms, a little bit more body language and stuff, especially because like I do a lot of dialogue, so getting those types of things in there to help, I guess, balance the dialogue is good. But now I have the opposite problem, where this comment is a sentence where I did a mannerism rather than explicitly saying what they were feeling or like what they were doing. And the comment is like, wait, what are they expressing? And I'm like, the balance, it's so hard. Okay. Fair, too many ands, that is fair. Sometimes I lose track of how many ands. I'm a long sentence writer, honestly. It's a problem. Good point. That's a good point. Okay. That's a good point. There's a reason for that, why that character's doing that, but it probably doesn't make sense why they're doing it, because you don't know why they're doing it until further down the line. So, that is good to know. Okay, that's a good point. Yes. Okay. I enjoy these comments because they are like world building connective tissue. So, doing that does help with the development of the story, because it's pointing out things that like I might know, but the reader doesn't necessarily know, coming at it with like fresh eyes. So, very good. I have read through my edits, so I'm good for that for today. And then I need to apply the edits, apply some thought and apply the edits. But I also need to write more, so I will probably do that all in one juncture. But for the time being, I think that is good for that section. Alright, it's another new day in the week, and I am about to start work because I have a other regular job outside of all of my authoring stuff, so I have to do that for the next chunk of time, and then after I'm done, I will be returning to the authoring world. So, wish me luck. So I'm done with work, and now the next step in the daily routine is that I need to go do chores and help with dinner, eat dinner, probably watch a little TV, and then settle back in for writing stuff. So, not being the most productive in this evening, it is 8:45 p.m. and now I'm just starting to write. So, time to get some words in. Okay, it is Tuesday night, and I am about ready to hop on a writing sprint with my friend. So we did a 15-minute warm-up, and now we're going to do 30 minutes, and yeah, try to get some words in, because I am running behind on my word goal, pages goal, whatever, however you want to break it down. I'm running behind on it. So, gonna do that now. Get my headphones all locked and loaded. Tune out the world. Time to write. Waiting for the next set of sprints to start. I've done 30, and 15. So, hour 15 so far. Have not been very productive. I got totally sidetracked having a conversation with another friend of mine about cookies. So that was obviously super imperative. But I need to kick butt on this final sprint before my other friend that I'm writing with has to go to bed, because she lives in a different time zone than me. So we will get the words in. I need to finish at least one chapter tonight. done with buddy writing sprints for the night. I'm about to regroup. I think I'm going to try writing in the bath because sometimes it sounds kind of weird, but like sometimes I do a bit better by changing things up, and then I go and I take a bubble bath and I write on my phone, so that way it's like I'm not as distracted to go do other things, I guess. Anyway, I'm struggling with getting character interactions between my main character and one of her sisters because I'm still trying to like pull out the character of her sister. So that is where I'm at tonight. Just trying to figure that out. The lighting is terrible in here, but I am going to bed. I ended up writing some in the bath, just a bit, and then I had to do some leftover work, which I worked on from like, I think it was like 1 to 2 or something, and then I set a timer that I was going to write for about an hour, and I got in, I think, like a total of 2,000 or 3,000 words today, and I almost have one of the chapters that I need to finish finished. So I'm just gonna wrap that up, and then I have part of the remaining other chapter I need to have done written as well. So hopefully tomorrow after my women's writing group video call, I will be able to crank the last of that out and get it sent off for the deadline on Thursday. Sticking to a deadline is good, but also a bit hard. So implementation is still a go, though. All right, I'm going to bed. Tomorrow's another day. All right, another evening in the week, and it is time for my weekly women's writers group call. So I'm about ready to hop on that and hopefully do a couple of good writing exercises, get things chugging along on my project. Another evening, I'm doing writing sprints with cookies. I ate half my cookie and then I put it away though because it's getting kind of rich. Yeah, and I realized that I have no idea what I'm writing. Kind of needed feedback from DE before trying to write this chapter, so I think I'm going to jump out of order and find something else to write in this draft, a different scene, a different thing, until I know what I'm doing with the chapter that I should be writing right now. Yeah. I'm over at my mom's house. I'm about ready to head back home and get to writing. I figured out kind of a new process that I want to do that I think is going to help me, because I've been like running into walls while trying to write, and this middle section that has eluded me both when I was working on it in Nano and when I'm working on it now. So yeah, I think I figured out a way around that finally. So I'm going to work on that tonight, which will be a little bit of like background whatever, but I did get my chapters in for Thursday, so that goal was met for this week. And then now I need to get the next 2 chapters in, so I'm going to do the legwork tonight so that hopefully I can get 4 chapters in this week, which is the max amount in a week, instead of 2, because I would rather get more done. It is Friday night, technically Saturday morning. It is 3:30 in the morning, and my dogs insisted on being in here with me, but they've been being kind of hyper, so I've been trying to calm the little beasties. This is Diggory, and Phineas. This is Phineas, and they're sweet little puppies. But anyway, so it is 3:30 in the morning on Saturday, and Saturday is kind of my last day in my week-long implementation process that I set for myself. So anything that I haven't done already off my checklist that I made at the beginning of the week needs to be done tomorrow if it's going to get done this week. So figured I would just review my weekly checklist and see what I have done and then what I have left to do that I need to cram in tomorrow if I'm going to do it. So film vlog content, I have been doing that, so that is a check. But something I've noticed is that I do a lot of talking at the camera like I am doing right now, which is fine some of the time, but I want to figure out what is going to be more like dynamic and interesting as far as like filming doing things, and then I want to actually film doing things, so that way it's a little bit less of I'm gonna do this and then cutting to the next clip. So that's a goal for me. Also, I have been wearing this sweatshirt in a lot of my clips this week. I just want to point out that it is a sweatshirt, it's not a shirt. I have not just been wearing the same shirt every day. So important things. I did my developmental edit review. I did that earlier in this video, so that's done. I did write chapters 7 and 8, and so I did 7 and 8 instead of 7 through 10 because I needed feedback on 8 in order to write 9. I still need to write 9 and 10, but that might transition over into next week's schedule because of that needing that feedback, which I did get tonight. So I'm going to be writing tomorrow, marathoning potentially with writing sprints with some friends, so I will definitely be working on writing tomorrow. That's going to be in the forecast. My weekly video call, my women's writing group, I did on Wednesday, so that's done. Outline more in my book, I've done some of that. I want to do more of that outlining with that new process, as I think it'll be really helpful for me. My writing process footage I did not get to yet, so if I'm going to do that, that has to be tomorrow. That might go into next week. It might be like something I do on Sunday instead, since I did already commit to doing writing sprints tomorrow. But we'll see what I'm up for. And then make 2 reels and 1 post. I made a Akatar reel to Pop Goes My Heart, and I made a Sanyo Dream Affinity Aesthetics reel for Fallen Rain. Sanyo is a country in the book, and the magical affinity associated with that country is dream, and so I did a little aesthetic reel, and I posted both of those, but I still need to do 1 regular photo post, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. And then edit my videos. I did that a little bit earlier, but I obviously need to do more because I'm filming more, so that'll be tomorrow as well. But it is, you know, after 3:30 in the morning right now, so I'm gonna button up what I'm doing and go to bed. So say goodnight, Diggory. All right, so just to do a quick little recap at the end, because I didn't actually film anything that last Saturday. I didn't end up filming anything for that YouTube video that I wanted to do, and I did end up doing writing that day. I got writing done. I did outline more. I didn't finish everything on the to-do list that I had set out for myself that week, but I do still feel happy with what I accomplished, and some of that stuff is carrying over now into this week, which is now like the 3rd week of January, but I still feel good about it all. And yeah, so I think that kind of just wraps everything up. I am still learning what I'm doing, so any feedback on anything is of course helpful for me as I'm learning, and I'm going to just kind of keep putting together videos and doing my best, and kind of simultaneously apparently documenting the process of trying to learn how to do videos. So yeah, it's part of being an indie author, part of expanding social media platforms. You have to learn these things. So here I am learning, and I hope that if you are watching and you've made it all the way to the end here, that you will continue along this journey with me for the year of 2023. That's all I got for this video, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.